Hi, I'm Heather. I am a nutritionist and a GAPS practitioner and a mom. And this is baby Rhea, who didn't want a nap today. And so today we are talking about something that is near and dear to my heart. Sounds kind of funny to say. And it is ways to save money on the GAPS diet. So I did GAPS like years ago, over a decade ago, and had amazing results. But I was a single gal at that point, and so when you just work and stuff, money's not a huge issue. But when you got a family of 4 and a hungry husband, you kind of have to start saving money on real food, I guess. And if you're dealing with the crazy inflation right now and the petrol prices, you might be looking for some ways to cut costs. So I have found 13 ways to save money on GAPS. Some of them are really easy. I don't do all of them, that's for sure, but I have done all of them at one point or another. And even if you can implement a couple of these, it'll definitely help your grocery bill, and your husband or your family might be really happy because then maybe you can go on that holiday or do whatever you want. So the first one is buy whatever you can wholesale in bulk. So we buy a lot in bulk. And you're putting that initial cost up, but it's really worth it. So one thing that we do is we buy like a cow share, which is 1/8 of a cow. We buy that maybe twice a year. And that fills up our deep freezer, and it's a good hinterland, high quality grass-fed cow. And it ends up being a lot cheaper. I mean, you do get a lot of mince and a lot of sausages, but our sausages are delicious. They're GAPS legal, paleo and everything. But yeah, you get a whole freezer full, and it ends up being a lot cheaper per kilo. We also get the bones, and we have an option to get the organ meats, and what else? It's kind of nice too because we don't normally get the nice fillet or T-bone or those kind of cuts of meat, but when you get a cow, they come with it, so it's kind of fun to be able, if you're really craving a steak, which I do when I'm pregnant, to just open the deep freezer and have I feel it there, all right. Yeah, that's not something we would normally get. And then we buy eggs by the tray at the farmer's market. I think they come with 20 or 30 or something no, more than 20. Yeah, I think it's 30. So that saves some money. We buy nuts in bulk. In America, I think you have Azure Standard, which I think you can get bulk from. In Australia, we have Honest to Goodness, which isn't quite the same, but you can definitely get bulk almonds and raw nuts and macadamias. And the price is you probably save about 1/3 of your money on that. And then I just keep those bags in the deep freezer as well. And then I can just sprout a ton at a time and make bliss balls, and just always nice to have those on hand. Coconut oil. Okay, so coconut oil is great. You can buy in bulk. That saves a lot of money. Olive oil we buy in bulk. It comes in these big 3-liter containers, and it's good quality organic olive oil. Salt, spices. Okay, if you're buying spices in little jars, that's so much more expensive. I buy the jars and then I just refill them. Whenever I go to the health food shop, I get spices in the bulk section and just refill those. Tea is the same. Salt, I said, good quality salt you can buy in bulk. Cleaning products, so we use Honest to Goodness for our bulk orders. You might have to be a business for that, but I can get laundry powder, cleaning supplies. I think we can get Dr. Bronner's, which if you're not familiar with that, it's a really high quality, clean. It's I think it's 12 purposes. It's basically just cast-iron soap, but they have different scents, and you can use it for everything from laundry liquid to, there's all the different ways you can use it. Cleaning, body wash. So that's good to have on hand. You can get that in bulk. Dried fruit is awesome. That's a way that we really cut down. My daughter loves yogurt and berries, but if we were to buy fresh or frozen berries, that would really add up. What I did was I bought a 4-kilo bag of goji berries, and I literally just sprinkle a few on her yogurt, and she thinks it's delicious. And it saves so much money compared to frozen or fresh organic fruit. And I don't have to cut anything up, just boop. What else? So that's a lot of stuff that we can get in bulk. We even get our butter in bulk. we go to a certain farmer's market that sells raw butter, and you can get it by the kilo, and I'll just go like once every couple months and get like 6 kilos of butter, which sounds kind of crazy, but when you do that, it ends up being cheaper than just normal factory farm store-bought butter. It's crazy. Okay, so that's number 1, get what you can in bulk. Whatever you can get in bulk, do it. Number 2 is choose fermented vegetables over raw or cooked. So one of the principles for saving money is nutrient density. If you can get more nutrition from your food, you're going to save money, because you get hungry when you're nutrient depleted. It's not just about calories. So fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, your pickles, your kimchi, those, okay, so basically we've been told our whole life, programmed, that vegetables are like the healthiest. They have so many vitamins and minerals. And that is so misleading, because vegetables have a lot of cellulose and fiber that traps those nutrients in. So if you're in a lab and you can like pull it apart, you can see how much it has in it, but that's not how much you're actually getting. Herbivorous animals like cows, most of them have multiple stomachs with a high amount of stomach acid so that they can break these things down. Cows, when they're eating grass, they have to like chew it and spit it up like 100 times before they can even digest it. So the idea that humans who have one stomach can just like eat all this, you know, all these vegetables and just get all this nutrition from it is just crazy. It's not, it's in that, the cellulose, like it's hard for us to break it down. We get a very small fraction. And as I love vegetables, don't get me wrong, they're great for detoxifying, they're delicious, but you know, if you want to, this is just one of the things you want to do, quality over quantity. I would rather have a tablespoon or 2 of fermented veggies on my plate than a whole thing of like salad. And that saves a lot of money because cabbage is so cheap. So basically when you ferment vegetables, you're packing them with salt, putting them in an environment where the bacteria that's naturally occurring on there grows and proliferates and breaks down. So it breaks down all that cellulose and it extracts the nutrients. So there have been studies on sauerkraut where homemade sauerkraut is examined, and it has like 50 to 200 times more vitamin C available than regular cabbage. And that's because you're giving it time to break down and release all that vitamin C and everything. So that is what's happening with the nutrients. When it's broken down, they call it pre-digested, and it just makes it so that when you eat it, you're actually getting all the nutrition out of it. So less is more. If you're, you may want to just like slow down all the vegetables and just, now I'm not saying cut them out, but you could prioritize the fermented vegetables for nutrient density. And they're also increasing in enzymes and probiotics, so it can replace your probiotic supplement or your enzyme supplement in a lot of cases. The third one is make your own fermented foods. So sauerkraut is one that I just can't get over how expensive it is. For a jar in Australia, it's like $18. I buy a huge head of organic cabbage for like $4. I could make 6 jars out of that. Like when I make my own, it's less than $1 per jar. So sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha can be way cheaper. Yeah, there's tons of them, but those are just the ones that come to mind. Yogurt and kefir are so easy to make. And by the way, when I say make your own fermented foods, I don't mean every single week you're making a jar of sauerkraut. I mean like once every few months, you just put on a podcast, get in the kitchen, make a ton, and then don't do it for another few months, because I'm not about to be doing that every week. And I think probably when you hear these, you're like, who has time to do all that? Me either. So you got to do it in bulk. Okay, number 4 is minimize fruit. Fruit can get really expensive, especially berries, especially like frozen smoothie fruit, stuff that's out of season. It really should be a treat. It's in between meals. It shouldn't be a majority of your diet. So if you can cut back on that, you really don't need it. And like I said, we'll use that dried fruit as a treat, and that ends up being a lot cheaper, and it's shelf stable, so that's good. Eat seasonal and shop at your markets. So that is so good, because when you shop at your local market, you tend to know what's in season, because every farm stand will have like when zucchinis are in season, you know, because every stand has a million zucchinis and they're like $1. When avocados are in season, I know, because it's like they're trying to give away avocados, and that makes such a good, easy snack. That's the perfect, you know, when avocados are in season, I'll buy a bag for like $4, and then what a great snack. Cut it in half, just scoop it out, eat it, make avocado dip, whatever you want to do. But yeah, eating seasonal is very important, or else you're going to spend a ton of money on food because it's shipped from across the world. Vegetables that go a long way. This is number 6. So things like cabbage or onions. Like I said, cabbage is so cheap. I get a huge organic cabbage for like $5. If I were to chop that up and saute it, that would be like at least 3 dinners worth of vegetables for our family if I sauteed that in butter. I couldn't do a whole cabbage. It makes so much. So yeah, onions, cabbage, sometimes broccoli, zucchini. It just depends what's in season. But a lot of these vegetables go a lot longer than other ones. Let's see. Whoopsie. Number 7 is grow your own greens, herbs, and vegetables. Now, I am not an amazing gardener. I am a very amateur gardener, and I've had a lot of failures in the gardening world. A lot. Australia, we're subtropical, we get a lot of bugs. So I'm like, I'm doing great. And then I go out the next day and like all my cucumbers are eaten by some crazy bug. And I'm like, so don't attempt to grow everything and become like a homestead within a day, because you're not going to do that and you're just going to get overwhelmed. And then you're going to be at Bunnings or Home Depot buying like $1 million worth of neem oil and nets trying to like get the bugs to leave your food alone, and you're going to start crying. I'm not speaking from experience here. But there are a few things that are super easy to grow. Herbs. Okay, so I would include in that green onions. They just keep growing back. Any herbs, parsley, it just keeps growing. Like, especially where I live, we don't really have like a super cold season, so we can just kind of grow year round. So I never buy herbs, and I love that. That's such a great money saver. I never buy green onions. And then greens are really easy. Kale, spinach, chard, very easy to grow. And then tomatoes and capsicums and certain peppers I found to be really easy. Yeah, those are kind of what I stick to. And so if you feel like getting into just saving a bit of money, those are great. Number 8 is switch out your fancy skincare. You don't need it. I love cool brands like Primally Pure. I haven't used Beauty Counter, but I'm sure they're great. People seem to love them. But honestly, beef tallow, coconut oil, jojoba oil, Dr. Bronner's, that's really all you need. You can make homemade stuff if you want. I'm not that fancy, but beef tallow is my moisturizer. I use it for cleansing my face. I use coconut oil. You don't need to be fancy. Your skin is good when your insides are good. It's not about what you put on your face. It's about, oh, my poor puppy. It's about your gut. When your gut is healthy, things aren't leaking into your bloodstream and your lymph, and they're not leaking out of your skin and detoxing through your skin. So what you eat is so much more important than any like beauty products you need. I mean, yeah. But you do want to put good, clean stuff on your face, and that would be things you can eat and things that aren't going to sink in and make your body toxic. Number 9, save your fat. So whenever I make sausages or other cuts of meat, or, definitely pork, lamb, if I roast a chicken or duck, you get all these drippings on the bottom. Put them through a coffee filter and strain it out into a glass jar, and just keep that in the fridge and just keep adding to it. Then whenever you roast veggies or something you need a fat, you have like a consistent supply. You barely ever have to buy it, and it adds great flavor. So save your fat from your animals. Okay, number 10 is make your stock and your dinner at the same time. So I have a bone broth / meat stock course, and it's very GAPS compliant. I'll put the link below for I think 30% off is what the code's for. It's like a ton of videos. I actually have one for sauerkraut and fermented foods as well, so I'll put the link for that with the code underneath. And one of the things in there, I teach you how to make broth and stock and how to introduce them properly with GAPS and everything. But one of my favorite recipes for making stock is a whole chicken in a slow cooker with water, salt, pepper, some celery, and onions. And you just let it slow cook. And then you have this beautiful slow cooked chicken that you can have for dinner with roast veggies, or you can save it and use it through the week on top of salads or just for lunches. And then all the liquid that it's cooked in is meat stock. So then you have your GAPS compliant meat stock and your dinner, and it just saves so much time and it's so easy. So I love that. It doesn't just save time, but it saves money because you're not going to buy bones specifically for meat stock. You're just getting it when you make your dinner. Number 11, this is something I don't do, meal plan. I am so bad at this, I don't do it, but I have done it in the past, and when I do, I save money because I'm not just like going to the market and buying a bunch of random vegetables, wondering what I'm gonna make with it, and then having leftover ones at the end of end of the week, I'm actually being intentional, going, okay, I need this, I need this, I need that. So meal planning is a great way if you're going to buy stuff to save money, because yeah, you won't just like throw it out at the end of the week. We're almost done, sweetie. Number 12 is organ meats. So this is where nutrient density really comes in. Organ meats are super cheap because people don't really like them. Cow tongue, I've never had that, so I don't know why I suggested that. But liver is way cheaper than beef, and it has so much more nutrition, like 10 to 20, I think some of the organs have 10 to 100 times more vitamins and minerals than the muscle meats, which are like your steak and all that. So crazy nutrient dense, and like I said, often we're hungry because we're nutrient depleted, not calorically depleted. So start introducing those organ meats. They are delicious and good for you. They're delicious after you've introduced them and had them for a while. Maybe when you start out, they're not. And number 13, clean your house with vinegar. You don't need all the fancy sprays and like solvents and things that smell amazing. You just need a good vinegar with a couple drops of essential oil. So just check it in there, shake it up, spray, clean your house. Vinegar is awesome, and it's like $1 for a gallon or something. It's crazy cheap. It's probably not $1, but crazy, crazy cheap. You don't need all the fancy stuff, and it's way cleaner and it's way safer. So those are my 13 ways to save money on GAPS, a clean lifestyle, and keeping your diet clean and saving money. I hope some of them were really helpful. And even if you just implement a few, I'm sure it'll be good for your budget. So thank you for watching.